Good morning children, stay safely at home. So in the last two lectures we have learned different dimensional formula of different quantities, alright, different physical quantities. Now if you consider the all physical quantities, then depending on the concept of dimension, we can broadly classify them into four categories, four classes, alright. What are they? First is the dimensional variables. So from the name you can make out the variable quantity which has dimension. What are they? Mostly all the quantities belong to this category, that is dimensional variables. Velocity, acceleration, momentum, then force, work done, energy, whatever you are saying, means almost 90% come to this category. They are known as dimensional variables. Means you see here from the name you can make out their values changes, so they are variables and they are having dimension. Okay, so this is dimensional variable. Then another second category is non-dimensional variable. They are the physical quantities are variable quantities. Their values varies, but they do not have dimension. So if you consider our earlier discussion, then you know strain. Strain is what? Change in dimension divided by original dimension. So as it is a pure ratio, so no unit. Angle, very important quantity, you know, it has no dimension but it has unit, only one. It has no dimension but it has unit. So here you see strain angle. Then another term, Poisson's ratio, we denote it by the letter sigma. Elasticity chapter, again I will discuss this term in details. What is Poisson's ratio? Poisson's ratio is lateral strain by longitudinal strain. Means lateral strain is change in diameter by original diameter is the lateral strain, and what is longitudinal strain? Change in length by original length. So when you are applying of deforming force and the body undergoing change in the diameter also, change in the cross-sectional area also, change in length also, then we define this term. So you see lateral strain, it has no dimension. Longitudinal strain, it has no dimension. So Poisson's ratio has no dimension. Like that, another term, relative density. I hope you can remember the definition of relative density. Density of the substance by density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. So as it is a ratio of two densities, so it has no dimension. So these are the non-dimensional variables, and these all the examples you must learn and remember. Okay, sometimes you may get multiple choice question, or sometimes directly 1 mark question you may get on this topic. Alright, so this is my habit. When I discuss any topic, you know, I always mention that what kind of question you may get and which one is important exam wise. So please you put a mark and you must learn and remember it. The next one is dimensional constant. Means these physical quantities, their values are constant with time and space and everything. So but they have dimension, so they are known as the dimensional constant. What are they? I have only used the symbol. You should write the full term. Universal gravitational constant G, and we have already derived its dimensional formula, m to the power minus 1 L cube T to the power minus 2. Then H is what? Planck's constant. Planck's constant, what is the dimension? M L square T to the power minus 1. Then big R is what? Universal gas constant. Alright. Now what is the dimension of universal gas constant? M L square T to the power minus 2. Then this is temperature, theta to the power minus 1. So these are the few examples of dimensional constant. Alright. There is another one, Boltzmann constant. Boltzmann constant, we define it as K. Boltzmann constant, okay, I am writing it here. Boltzmann constant, M-A-N-N. Okay, Boltzmann constant is R by N. Here you see N is the Avogadro number and R is the universal gas constant. Okay, so here you see Avogadro number, it has no dimension because it is a number. Alright, and you know what is the number? 6.023 10 to the power 23. And R is this one. So what will be the dimension of K? Same as that of R. Alright, so this one you must remember. The next category is non-dimensional constant. Means their values are constant, as well as these physical quantities, they are not having any dimension also. What are they? Any pure ratio, any trigonometric ratio, any pure number, pi. Here I forgot to write pi also. Pi, you know how much? 22/7 or 3.414. Okay. So here this pi, trigonometric ratios, pure numbers, these are the examples of non-dimensional constant. So you must learn all these 4 points. Out of these 4, these 2 are the most important one. Okay, so you must learn and remember it, and also note it down properly in your notebook. Now the question arises that why one should know about the dimensional analysis, about the dimension and everything. Because we are under lockdown, isn't it? We don't have anything to do, although we have enough. Anyway, and so that's why we are just spending the time to know dimension of the formula, isn't it? No, not at all. Why the dimensional analysis is a very important topic in physics, and everybody should have a clear concept on it, because we use this concept of dimensional analysis for various purposes. Alright, the first purpose is to check the correctness of an equation. Alright, now suppose you know that all over the world the scientists, the great scientists, they are doing the research and they are establishing anything, and they are giving the relations and all these things. Okay, now when a relation, an equation is given to you, then the equation is considered in science as correct only when the dimension of the left side of the equation becomes the same as the right side of the equation. Then only the equation is considered as the correct and valid equation. Alright, so one can use dimensional analysis to check the correctness of a given equation. Alright, so let us try to understand it from a simple example. Now, this one in 9th standard you have studied that S is the displacement of an accelerated body is given by this relation ut plus half at square. I hope you can remember, isn't it? Now, let us check whether this equation given is correct or not. Alright, so you strictly follow how I am writing the steps. Okay, I am requesting girls, please you strictly follow how I am writing. Sometimes it happens that you understand the fact, but the way you represent it in your copy, that ultimate result is that you get 0. Okay, because the sense does not come out from what you write on the copy. So please understand also, learn also how to write it. Clear? Now, how I can check the correctness of the equation? First of all, I will find out what is the dimension of the left hand side. So you can write down this way, dimension of left hand side. Alright, so what is the dimension of left hand side? Left hand side, what is there? S is there. Okay, so S is means displacement, means length. So what is the dimension of left hand side? L. Alright, then come to the right side. In the right side, there are 2 terms. Okay, now here you have to understand this point. When we apply dimensional analysis, then separately we find out the dimension of every term present on any side. Alright, we never do it that dimension of this term, we will add it up. No, we don't do it. Okay, because we have to consider the dimension of each term separately. Is that clear? When there is a plus or minus. Alright. When there is a plus or minus between 2 things, then we consider them as the separate terms. Isn't it? So, what you can write? What is the dimension of first term on left hand side or of right hand side? Alright. So, first term is what? U into T. Okay. Now, what is the dimension of U? U means velocity. So, what is the dimension of U? I hope you can remember. L t to the power minus 1. Then, T stands for time. So, what is the dimension of time? T. So, you see, on simplification, what you are getting? L. T to the power minus 1, and here it is T to the power 1. So, minus 1 plus 1, 0. So, you are getting L. Then exactly in the same manner, find out what is the dimension of second term of right hand side. Alright, so what is the second term? Half a t square. What is half? Half is a dimensionless constant. So as it has no dimension, you don't have to bother. Then next is a. What is the dimension of a? Acceleration. Acceleration is Lt to the power minus 2. So you see, dimensional analysis you will be able to handle only when you can remember the dimension. Alright, and if you understand every term, then dimension of every term automatically will be stored within your brain. You don't have to work on it, okay? But only one thing is that you have to understand it. So please do that one first. Okay, so dimension of acceleration is Lt to the power minus 2. Then it is t square. T is the time. Then it is t square. So dimension of time is t and then it is square. So it is coming Lt to the power minus 2 into t square. So how much it is coming? L. So look at it. Dimension of left hand side L. There are two terms on the right side and both the terms having the same dimension. So you can write what? Therefore, no, you write down this way, as dimension of left hand side equal to dimension of right hand side. So the equation is correct. Alright, so this is the way you can use the concept of dimensional analysis to check the correctness of any given equation. Now next use of dimensional analysis is that we can establish relation between different physical quantities. Alright, means how we can establish by using the concept of dimensional analysis. Now we know that this experiment you have done in 9th standard. The time period of a simple pendulum, it depends on the effective length of the pendulum, it depends on the acceleration due to gravity and it does not depend on mass of the bob. Can you remember this? So you see here, by using the concept of dimensional analysis, you can find out the relation between time period, mass, length and acceleration due to gravity. Alright, but remember here, in this point, there is a limitation. What is the limitation? By this one, we can establish a relation only between the three physical quantities. Means if one physical quantity depends on in other three physical quantities, then only we can find out the relation. But one physical quantity, if it depends on more than three physical quantities, then by this relation, you cannot find out, cannot establish the relation. So this is the limitation of this use of dimensional analysis. Alright, now let us find out how we can establish the relation between different physical quantities. Alright, it is little bit difficult. So but if you try it, if you understand it, practice it, then at first you may find it difficult, but with practice you will see that it is very easy to do. Okay, now follow the steps. How we do? So what I said, that time period T, alright, so how many physical quantities we are considering? Just see, time period T, it depends on what? This is depending on what? Let us consider it is depending on the mass of the bob, because I don't know whether it depends or does not depend. I want to find out. So let us consider it is the mass of the bob. L is the length of the effective length of the pendulum and G is the acceleration due to gravity. So this is the way for when you will solve the numericals, then this is the way you must write down. Alright, means this is the physical quantity whose relation for whom you want to find out one equation and on which quantities T is depending, M, L and G. Alright, so this should be your first step. When you will read the question, then you find out which physical quantity should be on the left hand side and on which physical quantities it depends. Alright, so T depends on M, L and G. This is the first step. Then second step, how we will write? You will write it as T proportional to M to the power A, L to the power B, G to the power C. Alright, means we are considering that A, B, C are the dimensions of M, L and G here. Okay, now in this case, you may ask that how you are considering they are directly proportional. Okay, I have given here directly proportional sign. Now any quantity it may like that it is inversely proportional. Any quantity it may like that, just like M, that it does not depend only, T does not depend on M only. Okay, now you see this is the general formula one can write. Why? Because you see if A, the value of A is coming positive, what does it mean? T directly proportional to M. If the value of A is coming negative, it means that T is inversely proportional to A. Just consider this example. Suppose you have got the value of A as -2. Then it will be T proportional to M to the power -2. Means what? T proportional to 1 by M square. What does it mean? It is showing that T is inversely proportional to M. Alright, now if the value of A comes 0, what does it mean? That T does not depend on M. Alright, so this is the way in general one can write that the quantity, given quantity is directly proportional to M to the power A, L to the power B and G to the power C. This part you don't have to write. Okay. Now you see, this is the second step. Now the third step is write down the dimension of all the quantities written here. So what is the dimension of time? T. Alright. Now here what you must do, you must write here M to the power 0, T to the power 1, M to the power 0, L to the power 0 and T to the power 1. Okay, while writing the dimensional formula, I told you that if it is not depending on any quantity, then you can just drop that dimension. But here I am telling don't do. You write down if it is not depending on M and L, then also you write it as M to the power 0, L to the power 0 and T to the power 1. Then proportional to, here you see, what is the dimension of M? Mass. So M to the power A. Is that clear? To the left side quantity only M, L, if it is not there then also you will write. But you may not write for the other quantities on the right side. Okay. Now, then next one is coming L. L is length. So it is big L. Then it is acceleration due to gravity. So what is the dimension of acceleration due to gravity? L T to the power -2. So you see what you are getting. The third step is what? You substitute dimension of all the quantities, but you have to remember one thing, that while writing the dimension of the quantity on the left side of the equation, left side of the relation, try to write all M, L, T terms. Okay, if it is not depending, then that for particular term you put the power as 0. Okay, so this is the third step. Then what is the fourth step? Fourth step is that you take all M, L and T's together. So here you see, this is an easy one I have taken. You know that teachers always they teach how to cook rice, but they give the question how to cook biryani. So I am doing the same only. I will not do. Okay. So here what it is there? M, if you consider there is only one M. So M to the power A. Then come to L. L you see, L to the power B, then L to the power C, isn't it? So L to the power B into L to the power C means how much? L to the power B plus C. Then come to T. T is only one time it is here, so it is T to the power -2C. Alright. So what is the fourth step? That you write M, L, T together, adding their powers. Okay, adding their powers in different places together, write down M, L and T together. Is that clear? Now, after that the important thing is coming. Now you compare the power of M, equate power of M, power of L and power of T. Okay, so you see what you can write. So when you will equate the power of m and l and t, how many equations you will get? You will get 3 equations. Alright, and you know when there are 3 unknowns, then to solve the unknowns you need 3 equations. Alright, so that is the limitation coming here. So whenever we will express the physical quantities, it will come in terms of ml and t. So when you will equate from both the sides their power, you will get 3 equations. So you can get to know the values of 3 unknowns. So that's why if t depends on more than 3 quantities, then what will happen? We cannot use the dimensional analysis. Alright, that is the limitation of dimensional analysis. Anyway, come back to the same point. So what I said, what is the next step? Equate the power of m, because the dimension of both the sides should be equal, and dimension means what? Power of mlt. So if I equate power of m, what are you getting? A equal to 0. And this is the way you just make 3 columns and write down, equating the powers, write down the 3 equations in 3 columns. Okay, if you follow this instruction, then you will find it easier to solve any numericals given to you. That's why I am giving this kind of instruction. Now you equate the power of L. So if you equate power of L, what are you getting? B plus C equal to 0. Then equate power of T. If you equate power of T, what are you getting? Minus 2C equal to 1. So you see A equal to 0. Already you have got the solution. Now come to this one. How much is C? C is minus half. Alright, now how much is B? B is equal to minus C, means B is equal to plus half. Clear? So I hope all the steps are clear to you. This is the first time, so I am not getting the confidence, okay, because I cannot see your facial expression. You have understood it or not, that's why I am repeating it again, that the first step is write down the physical quantities properly. This is the way, this is the original physical quantity for which you want to find out the relation. Then on the right side, you write down only the quantities putting comma on which the left side quantity depends. Then second step, write it as proportional to then the first quantity to the power A into second quantity to the power B, third quantity to the power C. Then third step, substitute the dimension of every quantity, but while substituting the dimension of the left hand side quantity, write down all MLT, okay. And then fourth step, take all the powers of M together, adding them, then powers of L together, powers of T together. Then the last step, make 3 columns and equating the powers of M, L and T. The 3 equations you are getting, write down in 3 columns and then cleverly solve the 3 equations and get the values of the 3 variables. So we have got the values of the 3 variables A0, B half and C minus. Now the next step is go back to the original expression you wrote. It is T, M to the power A, L to the power B, G to the power C. Now you substitute. That is M to the power A. How much is the value of A you have got? 0. How much is the value of B you have got? Plus half. How much is the value of C you have got? Minus half. Alright. So you see, if M to the power 0 means 1. So you can write T proportional to. Now L to the power half means what? Root L. And then you see it is G to the power minus half means it is 1 upon root G. So you see you have got time period, I have written small t. T proportional to root L by G. So you see by the dimensional analysis, you have established the known formula. The time period is directly proportional to under root L by G. So here, after seeing this relation, you are getting another limitation of dimensional analysis. Okay. Now see what is the limitation. What is the original expression? Relation between T, L and G, I hope everybody knows. T is equal to 2 pi under root L by G. So you see in the relation there is a constant of proportionality. Alright, now this value of the constant of proportionality we cannot find out by the dimensional analysis. This constant of proportionality, this is experiment based. We can get the value of this constant from by any experiment. All right. So this is the second limitation of dimensional analysis. So here you see we have learned the second use of dimensional analysis, as well as we have come to know now the two limitations of dimensional analysis also. What are the two limitations of dimensional analysis? That if one physical quantity depends on more than 3 physical quantities, then by using dimensional analysis you cannot get the relation among them. Then second limitation of dimensional analysis is that by using the concept of dimensional analysis we cannot find out the value of the constant of proportionality present in that particular relation. Thank you, girls.